public meeting of the City of Tallahassee Independent Ethics Board is now called to order at 4:00 p.m. on Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Members are present here at City Hall along with members of the public. With the assistance of the Communications Department and the Information Technology Department, this meeting is live streamed on the Ethics Board's website, and we are recording it for future reference. There is a delay with online communications, and we should all be patient. As always, we thank those members of the City of Tallahassee for their support. For those attending the meeting online, please make sure your microphone is muted. We ask the public to email ethics@talgov.com if they wish to speak online on agenda or non-agenda items. Those who have submitted their names will be allowed to speak as scheduled. While the meeting is in progress, please do not speak during the board's discussion. Set aside 2 places on the agenda for the public to speak. For those who wish to make a public comment, please complete a request form and forward it to the administrative specialist, Ms. Tasker Leverson Green. Be sure to state what you wish to speak about on the form. Public speakers will be given up to 3 minutes in accordance with the board's bylaws. Please let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we will have our roll call.
Carlos Ray,
Present.
Houston Costa,
Here.
Patrick Kelly,
Here.
Rika Calhoun, Adam Commissar,
Here.
Brian Smith.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes for the May 21st, 2024?
Yes.
Any questions, concerns, or revisions? All right, I will entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
Mr.
Second.
Kelly moves and Mr. Ray seconds. All in favor of approving the minutes for the May 21st, 2024 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes pass. Next, we have public comment on agenda items. Speaker will have 3 minutes. When the light turns green, you have 1 minute. When the light turns yellow, you will have 30 seconds. And when the light turns red, your time is up. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have one, Richard Herring, on the draft ordinance.
Is this from your last meeting, the
Okay.
draft ethics ordinance? I'm not sure whether it's old business or new business.
That would be,
Agenda?
non-agenda.
On the agenda.
No.
That's all right.
We'll come back. Now we're going to have our ethics officer report, Mr. Floyd.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. A quick synopsis. We did ethics training as we usually do. We had the pleasure of providing training for the Tallahassee Future Leaders Academy. It was 100 high school students. We gave them a briefing on ethics, and then we did an exercise on collaboration, which I'm told is very real with the students. They always ask us back. So they learned collaboration, and they learned about ethics, and we enjoy being invited to do that every year. We do the annual ethics training for new city employees. Spent a lot of time preparing for this meeting, finishing the ethics training course. We conferred with the board chair, occasion, maintained the board's Facebook page, and responded to ethics complaints. And then below you see our expenditures for the month of May, which included a monthly cell phone bill. We have an annual subscription, something called Canva, which we use for all of our reports and articles like the annual report, training, whatever. Very helpful. Comes to about $13 a month or something like that. Adobe Photoshop, we'll have that for a couple of months. It's by the month. So both of those and Adobe Stock, I use those for the training. If you've seen the training, you saw me speaking in front of some pictures, and I wasn't. I was in my office in front of a green screen. And so Adobe helped us format those pictures, and then we used a little Adobe Stock. And then legal services, This time was under $4,000, which is very reasonable. So our total expenditures for the month of May was $4,253.11, which leads me to the budget. Budget remaining as of May 31st, 2024 was $1,669,962. Expenditures as of May 31st, 2024 was $273,042. We're averaging a little over $34,000 a month. And we have 4 months left, so at that average, it would be 136,700, which would still leave us in the clear for about $33,000. And I doubt we'll spend that much, but that gives you a picture of where we are with the budget. I'm going to talk about that when we talk about the audit. Any questions about that part? And then last, we have two calls. Well, one was an email. And it turned out I spoke to this person, explained that we were not in her jurisdiction. I did give her in the information, or him, contact information for the Florida Commission on Ethics. And then we had a resident who gave her name as Keller and complains that the city damaged the property. I sent that to the deputy city manager, Ms. Barber. She communicated with me and told me she was following up, which she usually does. And so we recommend closing both of these.
Question?
Make a motion to make staff's recommendation to close the complaints.
Second.
Mr. Ray made a motion and Mr. Kelly seconded to close both of these issues. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next, we will have the general update.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to remind everybody that you're off next month. We don't have a meeting next month. So if you show up, it'll be you and the janitor. Agenda items that are not on this time that we will address last time. Last time we talked about ordinance revisions and we talked about SB 7014. We did not put them on the agenda because we wanted a little bit more time. And since we weren't in a rush, we'll give them the needed attention and be aptly prepared to present these at the August meeting. So that's why you don't see them today. Then John has two things that he's going to talk about. One has to do with the discussion we had at the last meeting, and another one is a conversation he had with the reporter. So our not being able to provide public support to.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, first is, I think we had talked about charter amendments. They're going on the ballot. One of them does deal with the ethics board. There are restrictions on what we're allowed to do using public funds. Cannot engage in electronic communications. So, anything that we do, we would have to ensure that it's informational only, not vote for this, defeat this, et cetera. So something was made in the closing of the last meeting about, maybe we do something in the opinion section of the paper, and just wanted to just point out that we need to be cognizant that there are some limitations on what we're allowed to do with taxpayer dollars. So the second issue was received a phone call from a member of the media, and I think there's going to be a story coming out soon about one of the city commissioners traveling to a convention and their questions on who is paying for it. It's Commissioner Porter. I think the Tallahassee Reports paper's been doing some stories on it, and the Tallahassee Democrat, I think, is going to be doing a story on it relatively soon. But we've been getting contacted to say, is this an ethics complaint? Is it an ethics complaint? Because it appears that this not-for-profit organization may be providing airfare, lodging, et cetera, but no one's quite sure. So the point I made to them was that based on that little information, it does not appear would be a violation for a couple of reasons. One, In order to be an unlawful gift, it has to be from one of the three prohibited donors, which would be a lobbyist, a vendor, or a lessee of public property. And then it has to be a gift. And in our ordinance, we do not define gift. We refer to the statutory definition, which is in section 112.312. And then subsection 12 has subparagraph A, which provides what are gifts, and then subparagraph B, which says gift does not include. And there's a list of 8 items, and the 8th one is gifts provided directly or indirectly to a state or by a state, regional, or national organization which promotes the exchange of ideas between or the professional development of governmental officials or employees, and whose membership is primarily composed of elected or appointed public officials or staff, 2 members, and I think you get the point. So I think I've always seen this. There's a group called the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC. Probably heard about it. It's very popular. It's a conservative kind of think tank organization where legislators are flown out from all 50 states and they convene and talk about ideas for legislation. And it sounds like this group, Local Progress, appears to be something similar, just on the left side of the political spectrum. So based on that limited information, it was brought to us. Is that an issue? Why is the ethics board not doing anything? And, I said, well, just based on that limited information, you've got 2 big problems in the elements of the violation: who's given the gift and whether it's even a gift to begin with. So I just wanted to let you know, I think there will be an article probably coming out in the paper about that. And I did kind of outline exactly what I did with you about what our ordinance says, what the state statute says, and how we would go about looking at that type of issue. So that was really it.
And the other thing is, if the city pays for it and the city's the one gets reimbursement, that's not a gift at all, correct?
Yeah, well, we that was always the way you could have a lobbyist or
Yeah.
a vendor pay for it.
So yeah,
In this one, it wouldn't even be a gift. They could just pick up the
is
hotel.
that exemption to require you to be a member of that organization, or do you have to, it's simply any organization? I was thought that in order to have that exemption, follow that exemption, you have to be a member of that organization, which she may probably be.
Yeah, 2 members of that organization.
So yeah, the exemption will apply if you're a member of the organization. And it's simply to exchange, but so it won't be a gift. You won't have to report it then. It's not a gift at all. So
Yeah, yep,
That's
that
it.
is true. So,
And I did speak briefly with Commissioner Porter, and because I offered advisory opinion if she wanted something
Mhm.
to support what she was doing. And she told me she actually was advised by city attorney and by an ethics attorney, so she's both comfortable with
Okay.
what we did. For our health.
Any questions on those general update items? Next, we have agenda number 8 of the item number 8, which is the annual ethics refresher course.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last Thursday, June 12, 2024, we completed the development of the annual ethics refresher course. The city will release it to 3,500 plus employees on June 24, 2024, and they will have until the end of July to complete it. Employees are required to complete this course as a requisite for receiving any cost of living increase. Our costs, excluding the cost of the equipment that we purchased in a prior fiscal year, total approximately $2,760 plus man hours. And those man hours are mostly taskers in mind, and that of volunteers. We estimated that using the outside vendor, the approximate cost of an equivalent course would be about $64,000, and base that on $200 an hour, or closer to $75,000, depending on how they use their subject matter experts. So we save the city and the ethics board a minimum of about $61,000 by doing it ourselves. The assistance of subject matter experts within the city board and staff contributed to the savings and enhanced the training in many ways. They volunteered their time to give input to the initial development and feedback throughout the process. There was extensive editing and testing to make sure the training was relevant, relatable, and engaging. For this, we would like to thank the following people. Deputy Chief of Police Maurice Holmes, City Attorney Amy Tolman, Inspector General Investigations Manager William Rob Pace, Diversity and Inclusion Specialist Kathleen Wright, Human Resources and Workforce Development Supervisor Jennifer Hill, Human Resources and Workforce Development Program Coordinator Denise Hart, Administrative Supervisor Ashanti Pettis, Sustainability, she's gonna get me, Sustainability Coordinator Kelly Corbin, Coordinator Special Projects Alma Valencia, Vice Chair of the Board Patrick Kelly, Board Attorney Rika Calhoun, and Administrative Specialist Tasker Levinson Green. They will all receive a letter from the chair recognizing their contribution. This item is presented as an update and does not require any action by the board. However, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Will this link take us to the training and loss of?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. And I would encourage you to look at it and just see the message that we got. I think it will be a very effective message.
Additional questions? Next, we have the charter review update.
Thank you, Charter Review. This item is only concerning the two issues that are directly affected by this board. And I say that because there are other items, but they're not the board business, for lack of a better way of saying it. At the last meeting, the board asked that we provide the language for the ballot in reference to board jurisdiction and the role of the inspector general. In addition to what you initially received in your packet, you still received an email. Did I leave it? You should have received in your email 2 documents. It's also in your notebook. One of them is, and these are resolutions that provide the language. These were graciously provided by the city attorney. One of them is resolution number 24-R-16. Question 2 reads thusly: Charter amendment expanding jurisdiction of the Independent Ethics Board. This is what will appear on the ballot. The charter of the City of Tallahassee be amended to provide that the Tallahassee Independent Ethics Board has jurisdictions over members of the City Commission when they are serving as board members of outside governmental agencies by reason of their City Commission roles. And then the voters will vote yes or no. Also attached to that is the proposed ordinance itself. So it gives you the total language. And then a separate document, resolution number 24-R-19, question 1 reads: Charter amendment to define the role of the Inspector General. Shall the charter of the City of Tallahassee be amended to define the role of Inspector General by charter rather than ordinance? And that also gives a yes or no answer. And the proposed ordinance is referenced as attached. Those were things that you asked for. This item is presented as an update and does not require any answer by the board.
Everyone have a chance to review them. Are there any questions on them? Seeing none. We next have our advisory opinion.
So this is the same opinion that we had last month regarding the individual who wanted to serve as a member of an LLC that would do business with the City of Tallahassee. This board asked us to just come back with city policy. So that is following the opinion. There is this Personnel Policy and Procedures, Chapter 706, and it addresses outside employment. I think the question was raised is there a reference to state statute? There's no reference to state statute, but if you look at paragraph 2, it's pretty clear. No employee shall accept outside employment or engage in any private business or public agency if such outside employment or business creates a conflict of interest or otherwise conflicts or interferes with the employee's performance of a regular city position or compromises the employee's ability to perform the duties of that position fully and properly. So that is how the policy addresses that issue. I still think we could continue our discussion about going back to the city commission on the language that we had originally proposed in 2019. This found in 112.313. There's a subsection 3, doing business with one agency. And there's also subsection 7, conflicting employment or contractual relationship. We had some language that we sent to the commission when we did the huge rewrite, and that was just one that didn't make the cut. But based on this opinion, it may be something worth pursuing. As far as the opinion goes today, I don't think that needs to be addressed in the opinion. I think we would just simply ask that we read the opinion. If you feel you may not like the outcome, that it does accurately interpret the ordinance, and then we could turn the page and work on maybe filling in that gap down the road.
Any questions, John, about this?
The other thing that I mentioned to John is that I'm planning on revamping the training I give to employees. That is something I can include in the training. Keep them informed, because I keep telling them we're here to help keep them out of trouble. So I think that's an opportunity.
To highlight that. Right. Seeing no questions. Anybody interested in moving this along?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Kelly. Seconds. Signing off on advisory opinion AO 2024-05. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have our expenditure audit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Expenditure audit agenda item 11. In October 2023, we agreed to participate in an expenditure audit of the city commissioners, mayor, inspector general's office, and the office of Tallahassee Independent. The audit covers the period of October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2023. The audit was conducted independently by MSL Public Accountants, same auditor that conducted an audit on behalf of the board in 2020. The audit found 21 incidents of non-compliance. Most of them before I arrived.
Thanks for clarifying.
I arrived on February 17, 2020, and from then till the end of 2020, there were 3 documented instances of non-compliance. For 2021, there were no documented instances of non-compliance. In 2022, there were 2 documented instances of non-compliance. And from July 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2023, there were no documented instances of non-compliance. In part, and I'm confident that the future audits will not show non-compliance after July 2022, the one that was documented. And part of the reason I'm confident in that is because I hired a procurement specialist. So she stays on top of things. Page 7 of the report summarizes overages for personnel budgets for the same period. It documents an overage of the allotment for 2020, 2021, and 2022. We should note that this did not affect the overall budget in those periods. And for those periods, we did not exceed the total allotment. So those are categories, but they do not speak to the budget as a whole. The budget as a whole, we've always come in with a surplus. But for the sake of appearance, we will adjust our budget, allotting more for personnel expenditures and less in areas where we have allocated funds that for the last 2 years, we have not used the expense category or barely used the allotment. For comparison, to provide further detail to the board, we included in this item the 2020 audit. Just for your benefit, this item is presented as an update and does not require action by the board. We're happy to answer any questions.
Any questions by any member of the board? And moving on, next we will have public comment on non-agenda items. Again, speakers will have 3 minutes. When the light turns green, you will have 1 minute. When the light turns yellow, you will have 30 seconds. And when the light turns red, your time is up.
Thanks. Richard Herring, 1110 Ivanhoe Road. These comments are in relation to what you had on last month's agenda, the draft revisions to the city ethics code. And our group, Citizens for Ethics Reform, has met several times and talked about the language in there. And I want to comment on just one phrase, and that's the idea of de minimis value of gifts as a violation. As an ex-legislative staffer, I can tell you that long before our current ethics laws were in place, so I'm talking late 70s, early 80s, there was a guy named Bill Sadowski, who was chair of the House Committee on Community Affairs. And he had a hard rule. You could not, neither he nor his staff would accept anything from a lobbyist other than a piece of paper with their proposal on it. You couldn't take a pen. You couldn't take a casual ride out to the airport. And oddly enough, so well before any of the rules we have in place today, oddly enough, it didn't stop any business. Nothing bad happened. So that's kind of the standard that I was first introduced with. But given your language, we realize that different individuals may think a particular object or expenditure is too trivial to merit attention. But individuals vary. The billionaire business person wanting to start an operation in Tallahassee will define de minimis several orders of magnitude higher than I would. We would suggest that you consider including in the definition of de minimis the idea that the concept of de minimis is to be evaluated based on the average citizen in Tallahassee, not based on the players in the game. I think your language kind of hints at that, but it is subject to a lot of interpretation. The second thing, we also recognize that alleged gifts can affect public policy as well as the gift recipient. So for instance, when telecom providers wanted to have state legislators do public service announcements, this was some years back, to promote low discounts, heavy discounts for low income citizens, the state commission on ethics said that's a gift violation. The gift was airtime for public officials. They said you can't accept that gift, even though you're doing something that has some public value. So there's a balance there. So again, something that we think you might consider adding to your existing language is something that says, this wouldn't apply in every situation, but in situations like that, where there's a balance between the good received by the public and the benefit to the individual employee or official, that it be overwhelmingly on the public benefit side. Not a careful balance, not a 51-49 kind of thing. A couple quick examples from Florida statutes. We talk about how you get rid of construction demolition debris, and we allow certain amounts of non-hazardous, by law, certain amounts of non-hazardous waste to be included in the disposal of construction debris. What the statute says, the amount of non-hazardous waste is determined consistent with the best management practices of the industry. So there's, in the definition of de minimis, they say it's consistent with whatever the industry chooses to do. That's the kind of catch-22 you can get into. Likewise, the community college ORP, optional retirement program, defines de minimis accounts as anything up to $3,500. I don't think anybody in this room would think that $3,500 is de minimis for anything in the city of Tallahassee. So again, by not having numbers, I'm not saying you should, you subject yourself to some potential issues. And the third and last example I would give you is local government concurrency programs. When you expand a neighborhood, you need to build enough roads. Your roads need to be sufficient to handle the traffic. The definition of de minimis in Chapter 163 is an impact that would affect not more than 1% of the volume Well, we all know based on how busy our roads are, that 1% may affect our ability to get to work or get to the grocery store or whatever substantially. But that 1% of the total volume of traffic is considered de minimis in Florida statutes. So again, the term is subject to a whole lot of interpretation. We think that you've identified in the current language a lot of good criteria, but maybe not enough to prevent you guys from having major headaches when an actual issue is presented to you.
Thank you. Are there any additional public comments on non-agenda items?
No.
Any specific directives that we would like to send forward this time? We had a bunch this time. It seemed less. All right, seeing none, then we will adjourn at 4:31.
You all